Good day, everyone. Welcome to Global Government News. Today is almost September 1st, but it's still August 31st, 2010, and I'm Darko. Welcome, everyone, to this news bulletin. I'm going to cover the BP oil spill briefly, very briefly. I'm so sick of it, to be honest with you. But we're going to cover a little bit the hurricane that's coming, possibly evacuations according to FEMA. That's what they're wanting. FEMA's also having some drones be along the entire Mexican-American border. So we got that going. What else do we have going? Towards the end, we're going to get into a little bit of police state / Big Brother, and then finish up with eugenics. I'm starting this in the beginning of each broadcast or each video now. I'm just toss it out there because I never really plug my own website. But it's up and running, and it's gotten a lot better. I've added a lot of new things and features now. So if you could, just please check it out. It's at ggnonline.com, and the link is posted on my channel. So this is BP acknowledges oil washing ashore in Florida, and the whole time they're saying that there was no oil. Somehow, I don't know, maybe that like double think. We'll get into that later. But it says for days, there's thousands of pounds of oil washed up on the Florida coast. BP officials stuck to an oil, what oil stance, despite howling by local officials. Fishermen and laid-off cleanup workers, BP officials denied all knowledge of the existence of the oil in the area. And this is what you call double think. Just deny, 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 like the smoking man from X-Files. Deny everything. Because eventually, the sheeple will forget. Out of sight, out of mind. That's why they use Corexit. Because they just sunk it to the bottom floor, to the ocean floor, so people can't see it anymore. So, this next one's from the Huffington Post. And it's 9 of the most polluted places in the world. It says from highways of LA to the Citarum River of Bandung, Indonesia, Earth's most polluted city of Linfen, China, to the streets of London, the world is laden with man-made pollution. Chemical, air, water, and oil pollution ruin the environment, cause premature deaths, spoil the world's resources, and worsen climate change. And of course, it gets into as the world's population soars to nearly 7 billion. Here are the HuffPost Green thought it time to investigate some of the world's most polluted places. And of course, there's China. And so, you know, and it's like, well, what's the solution? Well, the solution is to declare war on the human and then charge them for every breath that they take. For every food or product that is manufactured, the people who manufacture that product or service is going to have to pay a carbon tax too, but they're not going to pay it. No. You're going to pay it as your prices go up. They're just going to pass it on to the consumer. And so it's going to kill a lot of jobs, and not really sure where the statistic comes from. This is kind of offhand what I heard, but he's a trusted source, so. But he basically said that for every one job, that's green job that's created, 3 regular producing manufacturing jobs are gone. And I'm not surprised by that. This is crazy because it does come down to eugenics. That's what environmentalism basically is. They're not going to solve the air quality problem. They're not going to solve the Corexit that they're dumping in the water because they don't care. They want to kill you. And that is their end game. They see you as little ants. And I'm talking about the elites, the eugenicists. And so, yeah, here you go. And their solution for this, for all this bad air quality, is not shutting, or not really banning or shutting down anything. They're just going to offer a carbon tax. So then you know what the real motivation is, right? FEMA, U.S. evacuations may be required for Earl. Says federal officials urge U.S. residents to prepare for possible evacuations, and islanders in the Turks and the Caicos brace for high winds Tuesday as powerful Hurricane Earl howled over open seas towards the east coast of the U.S. Says the Category 4 hurricane with winds of 135 miles per hour was expected to remain over the open ocean before turning north and running parallel to the U.S. coast, potentially reaching the North Carolina coast region by late Thursday or early Friday. It is projected then to curve back out to sea, perhaps swiping New England or far eastern Canada. And this right here is sunstorm to hit with force of 100 million bombs. If any of you do have an attention span or a memory longer than a week, and I'm not downing you, I'm just downing a lot of the people that aren't the normal listeners to this little show here I got going, may have already forgotten that there was they call it a solar tsunami, and I watched that sucker, man. That was kind of spooky looking at watching the sun and this a big wave when it hit it, man. It was pretty intense. And then we had that meteor shower not too long after that, and then we were just frying. The temperatures were up. And so this has nothing to do with global warming or man-induced. This is some cosmic stuff here. What I will say about 2012 is that right now, or building up towards 2012, our sun, which is the center of our solar system, is moving towards the galactic equator. And when it does that, things start to get more intense, I guess. Electromagnetic storms, solar flares, all that stuff. And so, but they're going to keep riding home. They're going to keep riding home about global warming. And so, I know what the main driver of climate, of temperature is, right? And it's, the Farmer's Almanac. They'll tell you. This just came out. Farmer's Almanac, kindler, gentler winter on tap. Good news, winter haters. After a record snowfall in the Mid-Atlantic and unusually cold weather down south, the Farmer's Almanac is predicting a kinder, gentler winter. After eyeing the skies, tidal action, and sunspots, the folks at the 194-year-old publication say in their 2011 edition going on sale Monday that it'll be cold, but nothing like last winter when 49 states saw snow and got it so cold in Florida that iguanas fell out of the trees. And this is what I consider mind control. The Farmer's Almanac, who claims 80 claims, this isn't key, you got to remember key words that they put in their claims, right, as if it's not true, 80 to 85% accuracy, and says it's correctly forecast heavy snow in the Mid-Atlantic states last winter, bases its predictions on a secret mathematical formula using the position of the planets, tidal action of the moon, and sunspots, solar activity. And then it goes on and says, Ed Lennox from the NOAA Climate Prediction Center, here we go, said the scientific community, the experts, right guys? The experts. Don't trust the farmers, the redneck farmers. They don't know anything. They just been living on the earth and survive off of it. They don't know anything. Trust the experts in the offices with the big bright lights buzzing. Don't accept tides, planetary alignment, and sunspots as effective predictors of temperature precipitation, but he stopped short of calling the almanac's meteorological methods a bunch of hooey. So I hope if you're a new listener, you can see where I'm getting at here. UN Climate Change Panel to be warned over reports. The United Nations Climate Change Organization faces a warning over how it uses scientific facts in its influential reports, following the discovery of a series of embarrassing errors in its work. Errors, you like that? Some people call it, lying. But you see, when the experts lie, cheat, or steal, or fraud, well then it's, my mistake. That's an error. Sorry. I was just listening to a story about a teacher that had or was part of a curriculum to have their students try to come up with the best way to carry out a terrorist attack. And then when she got, probably one of the students probably went home and told their parents, and that's how it all kind of blew up in her face, but basically it came down to, she did, it was an honest mistake. So says a review of the practices of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change has been conducted in response to intense criticism of the body, whose reports are used by governments to inform policy decisions on global warming. In other words, pushing a carbon tax. IPCC told stop lobbying and restrict role to explaining climate science. It says an independent investigation into the UN's climate change body has warned it to stop lobbying and restrict its role to explaining the science behind any changes in global temperature. Senior officials at the UN Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change have also ordered to disclose their outside financial interest to avert any allegations that they may have profited from the policies to tackle global warming. All right, so progress in implementing new security measures along the southwest border. Washington Homeland Security Napolitano announced that the Predator unmanned aerial system flights will begin out of Corpus Christi, Texas, beginning on Wednesday, September 1st. You like how the government always does these things? Like when they raised the taxes in our toll booths here and the Midwest, they did it. They always do it on the 1st of something. With the deployment of an UAS in Texas, DHS unmanned aerial capabilities will now cover the southwest border from the El Centro sector in California all the way to the Gulf of Mexico and Texas, providing critical aerial surveillance assistance to personnel on the ground. And that's going to stop immigration, right? Right. Predator drones patrol entire U.S. border. This says Pentagon may apply preemptive warfare policy to the internet, grappling with matters of law and policy governing the United States military's cyber war capabilities. Pentagon planners are eyeing ways of making preemptive strikes across the internet part of America's toolbox. That's right, shut down the internet in order to save it and take away your free speech in order to keep you safe. This is another video, and it's actually a video that you might want to check out. Full body scanners installed at Lindbergh Field, and this was at, it says take a look at the new high-tech security device at San Diego's airport. You might want to check that out. It says,
this technology, you can never release the wrong person. The last thing they do on their way out the door is making sure that that iris matches that person.
Fighting crime with brand new biometric technology, the high-tech ID system making its first appearance in Colorado law enforcement.
And, you know, mind control, I like to define it as when someone else is selling you something and giving you the impression that you're going to benefit more than anybody else, and you voluntarily give up your, you willfully do something, that is mind control, my friends. That is my definition for mind control. And this right here is it. It's not for us. It's not to keep us safe. It is going to be in the hands of psychopaths. I'm sorry, police. You're not all psychopaths, but the majority of you are. And if you are a police officer, then that's something you're going to have to deal with, because you're being used as pawns and tools. And there is no oncoming of Big Brother. It's here. It's been here. And there is no debate for privacy because, like I said in last videos, in War on Terror, Liberty, Sovereignty, you have no more rights. You have no more privacy. And most young people now, they accept that. And that's the mind control that goes even deeper. So if you don't know about mind control, I think you should check out a lot. There's a lot of stuff on the internet right now. This next one's from the Register. Scotch tape maker buys biometric tech firm. It says industrial conglomerate 3M has agreed to buy biometric security firm Cognic Systems, and it says the Cognic markets fingerprint, iris, facial biometric technologies to governments and businesses. 3M, remember when you were a kid, Scotch tape? Oh yeah, Scotch tape. Now they're into tracking the slaves. 3M to buy people tracking firm. You like that? People tracking. You're not a person, you're a human being, guys. Person is just your corporate name. Facebook feeds narcissism, survey says. This new medical bracelets go high-tech style aside more people find they should wear. And it gives a bunch of rubbish about stories and, oh, how nice it's going to be. Privacy is a concern to some people considering wearing a medical alert bracelet. And like I said earlier, for any new listeners, Orwellian doublethink, rights or privileges, great article by the Activist Post. I recommend you checking this out. And it goes right down the line. Well, all your rights are being taken away. Now are now privileges.